Good morning, everybody. Today we're going to talk about some terms and definitions that I always hear used by flat earthers. The other day, I was listening to one of our favorite flat earthers, Mark Sargent, and he said something about Fata Morgana, and I didn't really know what that meant, so it got me to thinking about this, that sometimes we just don't listen to the terms that we don't know. So I looked up a bunch of terms and found a lot of interesting things for you. Uh, of course, the first thing is a straw man argument. A straw man is a fallacy in which the opponent's argument is overstated or misrepresented in order to more easily be attacked or refuted. This technique often takes quotes out of context, or more often incorrectly paraphrases or summarizes an opponent's position. Then after defeating the position, the attacker claims to have beaten the real thing. Of course, we hear this one all the time. The next one I hear a lot is Dunning-Kruger. This is a cognitive bias where people who are incompetent at something are unable to recognize their own incompetence. Gee, I wonder why this fits flat earthers. And not only do they fail to recognize their incompetence, they're also likely to feel confident that they actually are competent. A conspiracy is a different idea, some call it a theory, of why something happened, rather than the one which people are told. And then confirmation bias is a natural human tendency to hold opinions that agree with one's own point of view as more valuable than opinions that do not. However, this can be magnified to an insane proportion in ignorant people over religious people, people who have power, people who think they have power, people on a power trip, and people who hate criticism in general. This, of course, may stem from a fear of change, what one does not know, or from a God complex. Boy, we run across this a lot, and I love that about insane proportion. The last one, of course, is this Fata Morgana. It's an unusual and complex form of superior mirage that is seen in a narrow band right above the horizon. Notice it says unusual. Flat earthers seem to want to use this for everything. The next part of this I want you to know is only definitions for conspiracy theory. I looked this up on Google. This is not flat earth terms. These are strictly conspiracy terms. You can look them up on Metabunk, and you'll find it very interesting, the terms that they use. First one is ad hominem. The Latin term is real meaning. This is an argumentative tactic that diverts attention from the substance of the argument by conducting an irrelevant attack on the arguer. An example would be Barack Obama believes in universal health care. You should not believe in universal health care because Barack Obama is African American. Conspiracy theorist meaning, and any question upon the credibility of any purveyor of conspiracy theory information. For example, Steve Jones, a 9/11 truther, believes that the World Trade Center towers were brought down by controlled demolition. The validity of Jones' scientific process is open to serious question. However, according to the use of ad hominem, questioning Jones on his competence at all is impermissible and an ad hominem attack. Another meaning, a way to try to derail any argument with somebody who doesn't believe. For an example of this usage, you haven't debunked anything. You're just engaging in ad hominem attacks. Asleep. We don't hear this much anymore. I don't know why. But asleep is the condition of being brainwashed, duped, and lulled into a false consciousness by the powers that be. Essentially, the condition of not believing in conspiracy theories. If you deny the validity of CTs, you're asleep. The opposite of that, essentially the condition of believing in conspiracy theories and not believing any government or mainstream media source like NASA. They employ numerous variations on the asleep-awake concept, such as I woke up, or you're asleep, or why did you go back to sleep? When I was asleep, I believed the globe. When we're trying to wake people up. A lot of people are waking up. Critical thinking, a form of epistemology, the real meaning, a reasoned inquiry that evaluates evidence from a logical standpoint and reaches conclusions based on that evidence. The conspiracy theorists say justification for out-of-hand rejection of any evidence that contradicts the conspiracy theorist as being part of the establishment or promoted by powers that be. To CTers, critical thinking is a fig leaf for automatically disregarding any factual evidence that impugns or any way questions conspiracy theories. This is a pretty good fallback. Anytime you get a flat earther in the corner, they're going to say you have to use critical thinking. Disinformation, any item of information that contradicts the conspiracy theorists. Most conspiracy theorists cannot comprehend or understand why people would disagree with their conspiracy theories. Consequently, they conclude that anyone who disputes CTs must be paid to do so or is deliberately spreading false information. Usually the claim is that someone is spreading disinformation, works for the government or other supposed conspirators, often shortened to disinfo. And boy, we hear people saying, you've been paid by NASA, these are paid subscribers, all kinds of stuff like that. Here's one. Do your own research. This is a term used by lazy CTers who don't want to try to explain why they believe the silly things they believe. Research in this context means looking at CT websites and watching YouTube videos that promote CTs. It does not mean reading books or objectively evaluating evidence to determine whether a conspiracy theory is true. Boy, that one is so true. You have to watch the Flat Earth videos or you haven't done your research. Here's one I've heard a lot. First they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, and then you win. Quite erroneously attributed to Mahatma Gandhi, but it does not appear he ever said or wrote it. It may actually derive from labor leader Nicholas Klein. It's used by CTers to shrug off widespread ridicule and disbelief of their theories. It's also often used by CT-related cults, ideology groups, to predict their ideology will ultimately achieve victory despite what appear long odds in persuading people they're right. So we often hear flat earthers say, oh, there's more flat earthers and they're growing all the time and globe is dead and all this stuff. I remember back, I believed the globe, and then I started studying flat earth so I could laugh at them, and I found out the earth was flat. Lemmings, a synonym of sheeple. We hear sheeple more, meaning to connote blind obedience and groupthink. Evokes the erroneous view that lemmings willingly commit mass suicide as the result of following the herd. I used to hear that all the time. Lemmings all run over the side of a cliff. A PSYOP is a military term, a form of hostile action against the enemy, usually involving tactics to scare or deliberately irritate them. A reptoid or reptilian, extraterrestrial being of reptilian origin, usually evil and often possessing the ability to project an outward humanoid appearance. It's not really flat earth, but I have heard people say government leaders are reptilian, and that's why they believe the earth is a globe. A troll, someone who criticizes conspiracy theories, especially on the internet or YouTube. A truther, someone who believes in conspiracy theories. Actual embrace of this term by truthers themselves is waning. It's much more common for CTers to identify as truthers. For some reason, this is becoming a big thing for flat earthers. They are now calling themselves truthers, so it's not waning. And that one I just you are being lied to is a slogan used by CTers to attempt to wake up people whom they believe are duped by officially dominated information structure. NASA lies to you. Passive voice deliberately eliminates the need to identify the supposed conspirators. Here's a few more of my terms. The Illuminati. Again, I looked this up. The Illuminati conspiracy is a conspiracy theory which holds that there is a global elite society that is either in control of the world or seeking to take control of the world. As with most conspiracy theories, beliefs regarding the Illuminati conspiracy vary widely. Masons or Freemasons, these are conspiracy involving Freemasonry. Hundreds of such conspiracy theories have been described since the late 18th century. Generally, these theories fall into three distinct categories: political, religious, and cultural. And the last one that I have today is numerology. Numerology is any belief in a divine or mystical relationship between a number and one or more coinciding events. It's also the study of the numerical value of the letters in words, names, ideas. It's often associated with the paranormal alongside astrology and similar divinatory arts. We see this a lot. The 33, 666. I heard a guy the other day say 5, 9. As far as names go, we hear that NASA in Hebrew is the devil, satanic. I've heard a ridiculous thing about NASA, and they use T-1 or T-2, and that's because the T, when it's combined with NASA, means Satan. You have to rearrange all the letters and add the T and all this stuff. So